This is crazy. Y'all. Whew. Y'all can hear me now? Technical difficulties. Boy, this is crazy. Y'all be patient. Your girl is learning. I am new to this jazz. So, oh my God, this is crazy. Trying to learn it. Y'all work with me. Work with your girl. Because I'm still learning. I am still learning this whole crap. Trying to work this out. Okay, so back to what I was saying. We're going to recap and go over kind of like what we talked about earlier today and all the questions that you guys had. Because I know I wasn't able to answer a lot of them. And I do want to be able to answer everybody's questions, all the questions you guys had. Understanding the video and everything we talked about earlier about the wedding scam. And there was some questions, as I was saying, that I did want to respond to. Because I did see like some people asking certain things and making comments like on the video. So first thing I want to make very clear is that I was not exempt to loose cannon scam. Like, as I stated before, everybody has a part in his game. Like, no one is exempt. Like, I wasn't exempt. No, my daughter wasn't exempt. Nobody. Like, everybody gets played in the end. It's inevitable when messing with loose cannon. So I want to make that very, very clear. In no way, shape, or form am I saying I was special. I think by now we know that Cannon doesn't care about anybody but himself. Not kids, not wives, not girlfriends, baby mamas, not friends, not family, not twin brothers, nobody. Like, he's literally all for self, right? I think we can all figure that out by now. So I wanted to make it very clear that in no way, shape, or form, I mean, we all got played, period. Just like he's playing the internet, playing literally everybody out there right now into, not everybody, but let's just say a lot of people into believing he's somebody that he's not. It's the same way we all got played at some point in time dealing with loose cannon, which like Demon Time even said, you know, he fell for the scam and the plays too. And I think everybody does. Like, it's kind of hard not to. Just look how much nobody knew who he was. He like popped out of the blue, right? Out of the woodworks. This guy fell from the sky, comes up. On no jumper, starts making these outlandish accusations and these wild stories, and people are believing them, right? So I think it's, you know, you could say that he's believable. Like, he can manipulate and make people believe whatever narrative he wants. I mean, I think he just literally said, like, I think somebody was telling me, he said he just got in a fight with Big U. He just said that he's going to have Little Dirk on his pot. I mean, all this crazy stuff. Like, it's still going. Mind you, he's in prison. This man is behind bars fighting 20 years per charge maximum, right? That's the maximum penalty for that's just for one case. That's just for the RICO. 20 years maximum per charge. He has 2 charges and he's still going. So that should tell you all you need to know right there. That he clearly doesn't care about his freedom. He doesn't care about, like I said, anybody but himself and what his end goal is. And ultimately, I'm assuming, just my assumption, because he's been doing this for so long, is his end goal is to be the most talked about person ever. Just delusional. Yes, thank you, bro. Delusional. But like I said, so I want to recap kind of what we talked about earlier, the wedding scam. So I want to make sure that everybody understands like the scam. So Cannon, when you are dealing with Cannon, he's dealing with you for a purpose, for a reason. Rather it's because you have resources, rather it's because you have connections, rather it's because you have money. It could be for multiple different reasons. And all he's going to do is drain you of those resources. I know there was other questions. I'm answering some things I'm going to answer because I've seen just some questions I've seen on my own that I know a lot of people are wondering. So another question was, what made you fall for him? What made me marry him or fall for him? And I think the best answer is that is the same way he made everybody else fall for him to believe he's somebody that he's not when nobody knew him from a can of paint. So if you can imagine what he's doing to the internet, what he's doing to somebody who he's trying to conquer. You can imagine it was to the 10th power. So I fell in love with somebody that he pretended to be, right? So that's that. Another thing I wanted to address is, I think there was a question, something about like, how do you feel that Sharice says that he only has one child? I want to make it very clear that it doesn't bother me. My daughter, when I left Canada, she was only 6 months old. So she is not going to remember him in any way, shape, or form. The only thing that she will know about him is what she sees on the internet when she's old enough to ever be on the internet. That's the only thing she's going to see, which brings me to the reason why I feel like it is imperative for me to clear up all the lies, the false stories or anything, especially revolving my child. I don't know about any other mother, your grandmother, whatever. That's cool. If you don't think it's cool or you don't what you want to turn the other cheek, whatever you want to do. But this is my child, and I want her to know if she ever sees this on the internet, if anybody in school ever brings it up or whatever the case may be, a family member, anything. I want her to know that her mother was her biggest supporter, that I was her biggest advocate, that I stood up for her when, her name was being brought up. I'm going to answer the question. I haven't really heard him speak on UGG. Do you really want to see him locked up and away from his kids? If you say he's dead, then the losing the opportunity to build a relationship. Okay, good question. So I know you probably haven't heard him speak about me, but there's multiple interviews he spoke about me. Sharice constantly speaks about me and my child. Like I said, it's public, it's all over the place. It's not like I'm just delusional. It's been going on for a long time. And I understand a lot of people, like I said, you can't watch every interview, can't see everything, but you have to understand, like I said, there's a lot of things that you guys don't see that, I'm not just coming out of the woodworks and just saying, haha, like, I just want to expose him. That's not the case here. He has spoke on me on Clubhouse with WACK 100. That's kind of where it all started. The original narrative was, like I said, if you guys subscribe, I'm going to share all this with you so you guys can understand why I am where I am today, why I'm over the bullying, the harassment, the lying, that type of stuff. Like, it's just come to a point where Cannon and Sharice have bullied the internet enough with lies, false stories on other people, and everybody just runs with their narrative, and they have never provided one shred of receipt, proof, evidence, or anything. Yet I see that people attack anybody else who speaks out against them. I don't care what anybody says. Like I said, when you come to my channel, anything that I say, I'm going to show proof and receipts. So it's not like you have to take my word for it. I'm not here to have a he said, she said. It is strictly just facts, point blank facts, period. So let's go over to answer Toxic Media's question. The original narrative of how this started was Canon Charisse went on Clubhouse with WACK 100. Canon's exact words were, he did not know who I was, that I was a jump off, and that the child that we conceived through IVF, my daughter, Legacy Williams, is not his child. So as you can imagine, as a mother, okay, the man who brought this child into the world with you is now going on a public platform with WACK 100, might I add. Okay, that's somebody that, you know, has a big platform where millions of people are going to hear and see this father saying this about his child, all because he wants to be famous. Okay, so that's where it first started. Then it went on from there. Then it went on to Tasha K. And you can go look these up as well. Like I said, I'll post them as well. But Tasha K, they went on that interview as well and said the exact same thing. So again, here we go back to your question. Just because you haven't heard it yourself does not mean it's not being said. There's a million people who have heard it. It's been all over street TV. You can go to him, Alex Alonso. He has done tons of pieces on a lot of his interviews of him saying, you know, all that stuff. So like I said, that's a really good platform if you guys want to go look at anything right now to see the things that Canon has said, done, the lies, the manipulation, all that. You guys are free to go watch street TV. Go there. Great journalist, does a lot of fact checking, along with like evidence receipts. It's like I said, it's not just me saying it, it's proof. Next question, are you divorced? No, we are not divorced. We are currently in a divorce. We are not divorced, no. So also, like I was saying, back to what I was saying about the whole situation, I think people have a misconception that, you know, that I'm speaking out because I want to see him locked up away from his kids. That was the Toxic Media's question. Do I really want to see him locked away from his kids? Let me answer that question. Now, which kids are you talking about? Are you talking about the child that he has with Charisse that Charisse says is his only child? Or are you talking about his two older sons that he has claimed that are not his and put a gun to their head with Charisse, to his oldest son's head, a gun to his son's head? Are you talking about that son and fought his own son? Or are you talking about the child, the daughter, which is mine, who he's never seen since she was 6 months old on 4, never paid a dime, never checked on her, never called looking for her, nothing like that? Are those the children that you're speaking about? Are those the children that you think that he's locked up and away from his kids? He's not with his kids. Or you're talking about the 2 sons that he has with the wife before me that he hasn't seen in 5 years, but thinks that Charisse thinks that sending the mother $200 for 2 children who are 12 and 11 here and there is doing something. Are those the children? You can't buy children, okay? Like you just can't throw money. Like 5 years? Are you serious? His sons with Nikki are old enough to look in the internet. They're old enough to read. Do you really think that they don't see everything their dad is doing? They don't hear and see the things Cherie says and things like, you don't think that they see that? They do. And so I think your question should be to Cannon and ask him, why is he doing the things that he's doing to be locked away from the children that he could possibly have a relationship with one day? You know, I think that everybody is so quick to try to attack the ex or the person that he's not with because she's speaking out. And I noticed that. I noticed that with the internet, like whenever somebody speaks up or stands up for themselves and they're an ex, it's either she's bitter or you're upset because you're not with him anymore, or why don't you just move on, or you do this or you do that or you and it's just like when I first came out and spoke, that was all I asked for was a divorce. And he said he was never married to me. All I asked for was for him to sign over his rights. He said it wasn't his child. But now, now you guys are saying, or not you per se, I'm just saying now I see now that Charisse is admitting that, oh, if they are married, who cares? Me and him aren't really married. A piece of paper means nothing. So why are you guys not asking her, why was she up on public platforms lying then? Why was he on public platforms lying? Why isn't he running to go get a divorce? Why isn't he running to, like, you guys are asking like that it just doesn't make sense. It's like, it's crazy the questions that are being asked towards other people when, like, why are you not asking Luce Cannon this question? Why are you not asking Charisse, as a mother that you are now, why are you only saying he has one child when it's public record he has 6? That should be your question. Why are you comfortable as a woman sitting next to your man who has been proven a habitual liar? Why are you co-signing and condoning his behavior to be away from his children? Shouldn't you be asking her that question? Does she want him locked up and away from his kids? Because it seems like she's the one I'm not with him. I'm not condoning him lying on and snitching and making. I didn't tell him to go on there and post that he robbed 50 Cent or Meek Mill or he wrote for Cardi B, but I didn't tell him to do that. So it seems like, a lot of your people's questions or concerns should be towards Cannon and his woman, the woman that's sitting next to him, the same woman that you guys see every day, every Sunday, literally recording a man's phone calls, who is in prison on a RICO charge. He is literally in prison. Like, come on. Have you heard him once on any of those phone calls ask about any of these children that you're so worried about him not seeing anymore? I mean, that's what I'm saying, it's natural for a child to want to connect with their parent at some point in their life. Would you rather see him locked up than free? Honestly, I feel like sometimes no parent is better than a toxic parent. So, a toxic parent can do more damage than not having one. So it depends. Just because you make a baby doesn't make you a parent. Let's just start there. Okay. There's child molesters who have children. Should we want them to not be locked up because the child wants to connect with the child molester? No, right? So that doesn't make sense. Cannon has mental issues. He is mentally unstable, and he is very toxic, and he is very abusive. I don't know what part you guys didn't hear about. He put a gun to his own son's head. Do you really think that I would allow a man who put a gun to his son's head with his girlfriend next to him, or any woman for that matter? Do you think I would allow him around my child? Like, just think about that. Like, come on, be serious. Like, that's not going to happen. And I'm not judging anybody else who's okay with that. Some people are okay with that, but not me. So for my child, No. Now, do I believe that people can change? Do I believe Cannon can get the mental help that he needs to possibly change and be a good father one day? Yes. I'm not God, and I believe, through God anything's possible, but I believe that the person has to want to change. And as I said, clearly we can see that nothing's changing. He's literally in prison and he is literally still doing the same thing with his girlfriend, aiding and abetting and co-signing still the same lies that landed him in prison, still telling his crimes and acting like he's doing this. He just said he got in a fight with Biggie. Like, come on, it's a mental illness. Man. Was he always slow? Yes. So Cannon has always spoke the way he speaks, but again, like I said, Cannon is an evil genius, which he clearly has. He has the gift of manipulation. He has the gift to make people believe anything he wants them to believe. Cannon can make you believe that he was Moses walking on water. And 9 out of the 10 people would probably believe it. The same reason why a lot of people still believe him till this day. Cannon can literally say that he built the nuclear bomb, and there's a group of people who are going to follow him and believe it. He's just that. He's always been very good at that. Very, very good. Sharice was pushing those lies with Tremaine during all those interviews. No jumper, Capone news, drink with Jinx, etc. Exactly. So look in the comments. Street TV made a very good point. He put some of the links where you can go see his him and Sharice's interviews if you haven't seen them already. And I think, like I said, you will understand why we are here at this point. Now, is Luce Cannon really a Rolling 60s Crip? No, he is not. Again, he was never put on. He was never a 60s Crip. His father was a Rolling 60s Crip, and he was basically, what's that called? Like guilty by association. So he was affiliated because of who his father was. He was affiliated, but he was never put on to Rolling 60s. No, he was not. He's slow smart. Yes, he's definitely, yes, that's the perfect. He's slow smart. He is very, very slow smart. He is an evil genius. It's the truth. Like I said, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you the truth. And no matter how crazy it sounds, but Cannon is he's not book smart. He's just very street smart. He's an evil genius. That's the best way I can describe it. Like, if he wasn't so evil and if he wasn't doing the devil's work, Cannon would really be like a billionaire right now. He really has a weird manipulating like mind. He probably could have been a lawyer somewhere in some different life if he was to choose his talents and use them in a different way. But like I said, I mean, just the power to just the power to be able to paint any narrative you want and to have a mass majority of people believe it. And these are adults. We're talking about adults who are, have common sense, and they're literally looking at this man that they've never seen before ever in life sit here and say that Shawnee O'Neal gave him $50,000 for sexual, like, come on, like, it's just he's definitely gotten a lot crazier with the lies. I can say this: when I was with him, the lies weren't this grand. They were not this crazy and outlandish. He's definitely graduated to further it, I guess, a little quicker. The fake Cannon grew up in Fontana, far from Rolling 60s. Correct, he did. A lot of people accepted him because he was a scammer. A lot of fraud, a lot of plays that he put together. So, whenever you got somebody in the little clique that wants to be down and wants to be cool, and, maybe his family came from money, this is just an example. And you let him in on the crew, let him pretend like he's cool because, he's buying everybody ice cream and buying it. That's Cannon. Cannon was always, like I said, he's always got some type of plan, scheme going, and he knows how to make money. That's just point blank period. He knows how to manipulate, lie, rob, take from anybody. And what's crazy, this is where the genius part comes in, is Cannon will make a lot of money and nobody will know that he's the mastermind the whole time, because Cannon will literally play himself. He will play to the person like he is just the middleman, or he's the the bottom of the bottom, but not knowing that this person that he's claiming he's getting the work from or he's getting this from, that person doesn't even exist. It's really him. I'm telling you, it's a crazy mind thing. He got that white collar. Yes, he definitely has that. Well, white collar hustle. He definitely, because of the way he talks, I think his slowness, I kind of think it helps him with also being a chameleon. So being able to talk to all different type of races, colors, creeds, to put himself in different rooms. You know, that whole like saying fake it till you make it. He's very good at that. He can turn that gangster talk off, all that crip and cuz he can turn that off real quick. He can turn that white boy charm on real fast. Yes, he can. What does his family think about this? His mom, his siblings, they've came forward. His mom, you know, she loves her son. She doesn't support the lies. I think that's why that's the whole reason why I shared with you guys the whole wedding scam. None of his family was at that wedding because, I mean, it was a fake wedding. None of his family are going to ever play a part, especially his mother, in ever, ever, ever disowning her grandchildren. She's never going to do that. She's never going to tell Cherie. She's never going to play along with any lie that she's ever told any woman or anything. No matter what, his mom is never going to play along with that. His twin brothers already came out and said that he lied, you know, that they, you know, about certain things, especially about our child, said that, you know, that is his child. We went through IVF. I mean, everybody knows. So his family does not support any of his lies. That not at all. What kind of relationship did you see Luce have with his father? So his father's been in prison on death row since he was like, I think about 9. So I got with Luce in 2018 to 2022. His relationship with his father was off and on. So he would talk to him in prison like every now and then, but they didn't really have like a super close relationship out of all those years that I was with him. Nikki, which is the wife before me, she has 2 children with Luce, 2 boys. I would have to ask her like how his relationship was with his father when she was with him. She was with him for 10 years. I was with him for 5. Yeah, 5, 4. Do you think Luce was cooperating with the police before? So it's not the first time that Luce Cannon has got picked up by the feds or by, you know, police or whatever. Our houses have been raided before. The police have came, you know, before. So obviously they don't put us in the room together. So I cannot confirm or deny if he was cooperating at any point. Because obviously when you're picked up, you're not put in the room together. We were put in separate rooms. I don't have a record, never have been. I've never been a part of any of his scams or knew about any of his scams. I didn't find out about any of it until later. Obviously, you know, when you leave somebody, people who are part of this the scams come forward, or people who get scammed come forward, and then that's when you start finding out, you know, the robberies were being set up in your house and all this stuff. You know, people feel sorry for you, and then, you know, after they watch you go through all the torture and the BS, you know, nobody says anything, and then once you leave, they're just like, oh, I'm so glad you got out because, you know, all this was happening behind your back. Like, oh, gee, thanks. But I can't confirm or deny if he was cooperating. I do not know. I do know Luce has snitched multiple times. He is good at snitching. I can say that. I can only speak on personal experience from me and from his brother. I've been there when he snitched on his brother to the police and blamed crimes on him. The whole holding somebody hostage. I think there was a situation at him and Sharice's house where he claims that somebody called the police and said he was holding somebody hostage. He pulled that same scam where we were living in Corona. and then tried to say his brother was the one who called the police, and a SWAT showed up, said that had us surrounded with army tanks and everything, saying that somebody was being held hostage at our house. So that's not the first time he's pulled that type of scam. And then, so I don't know if you guys saw his detention hearing. He has 2 active warrants for domestic violence. So one warrant is for violation of the restraining order that I had against him in Loma Linda. And then the other one was in Riverside for our domestic violence. So those are the 2 active warrants that they're talking about in the indictment on his detention hearing, which is part of the reason why he's not getting bail. And prior to all of this, I'm just giving you guys a backstory of like kind of how we've ended in here. Luce, Cannon, and Sharice went. So we lived in Riverside, California, on Kingdom Drive, Cannon and I. And Cannon was setting up robberies at that house. I guess there's investigation started. I didn't know at this time. After he had cheated with Black China, after that whole like scandal thing was going on, Kenan and I want to make this very clear. Kenan and I were living in the same house together, but we were not sleeping together. I was sleeping in another room and he was in the master. I was in the room with the baby. He was in the other room. Of course, he was wanted to work the marriage out. I did not, but at that point I had a C-section. I had just had the baby. I didn't have anywhere to go with the newborn. I didn't want to take his daughter from him. Obviously, this was before, you know, the pulling the gun on his son. This was before the attacking me at the hospital with the baby. So this is, like I said, this is right after our daughter was born, which was November 3rd, 2021. I didn't want, you know, to take her from her father. So I did tell him we could stay in the house together and raise the child, you know, so she could be a part of his life. So I did it. I was back and forth between there, and I have an older daughter. She had an apartment kind of nearby. So I was back and forth between the 2 places. And I didn't know that Cannon was setting up robberies at the house where me and the baby were living with him. I didn't know that the robbery was being set up there. So robbery was set up. It was all over the news. You can go on the news and look up a robbery at 7756 Kingdom Drive in Riverside. Police were under investigation for all the robberies that were happening at our house, and then I guess in the area. So Cannon and Sharice, after that robbery happened, one of his IBM homeboys, a girl he was messing with, was running some type of gambling ring or whatever. She would have, like, you know, people come and set up the gambling table and bring their money and play or whatever, right? So Cannon and his little IBM homeboy set it up to where she could do it at our house. She brought her players. Cannon set up the security. Cannon, then him and the IBM homeboy flew out to Miami, and the security that they provided for the girl robbed everybody at gunpoint, took all their money, chains, watches, blah, 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 blah. A couple days later, somebody breaks into the house and trashes the house. Cannon and Sharice go to the police and blame me and say that I robbed the house. At this point, Black China was not mentioned to the police. It was just me. Once they made the report, I got a call from the investigator, and I was then brought into the robbery investigation, that I was a part of the robberies in the neighborhood. And so, of course, I had to go down to the station, clear my name, provide where I was, times, days, blah, 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 you know, whatever. Once I cleared my name, showed that I had no parts in any of the robberies, where I was during the robberies, things like that, I was cleared of any implications into the robbery investigation. So Cannon is Cannon definitely will snitch on you really quick. When he has no when you go against him or you don't participate in anything that he does, or you out him for anything, God forbid, like you do this outing him, oh, he's going to turn it up. He's going to do any and everything to try to bring you down. Do you think Luce, I already answered that. No disrespect intended, but does he have a mental health diagnosis? And if so, what it is? I do not. So I've talked to his mother. He's never been like diagnosed by an actual doctor. But I mean, everybody in his family, we all know that he has mental issues. As I said before, it was never this bad. Kenan's always been a liar. You know, you have like those friends who just lie because they're like maybe ashamed where they come from or who they are, or they want to be somebody they're not, you know, whatever. Kenan's always lied about stuff like that, like what he did for a living, his age, where he's from, stuff like that. You know, you just think like, oh, he's ashamed or whatever. But this level that he's on now is a whole new level that is just, it's we've never seen it, and nobody knows. We think maybe he just snapped. He's 42, maybe a midlife crisis. I don't know. Maybe the whatever mental disorder he has gone haywire. Not sure. So not a medical diagnosis, no, but we definitely know he has some type of mental issues. Did you know about his friendship with WACK 100 when y'all was together? So again, like I said, I've been with Canon since 2018. There was no WACK and Canon friendship. Let's make that very clear. So how WACK and Canon even got to start talking, which I'll drop those receipts to when I drop the series, was because of Molly Mall. So the whole Molly Mall situation, when me and Canon started hanging out with Molly Mall and stuff like that, Canon had bought some beats for Molly Mall or whatever. This was when Canon was trying to do his rap thing. And this is right around the time where he started the whole IBM. So the whole IBM thing I started, it was not a gang or anything like that. Canon, like I said, wanted to start doing his rap thing. Came up with IBM, Integrity for Money. I paid for the logo, blah, blah, blah. Went to Molly Mall. He got some beats, paid Molly Mall for some beats. Canon then set up Molly Mall. And the reason why Molly Mall was set up for that beating was because Molly Mall slid into my DMs and was talking to me in a way that Canon didn't like. Molly Mall wasn't a sexual thing or anything like that. He was just saying that I was beautiful, blah, 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 something like that. Canon didn't like it. A couple days later, Canon set up Molly Mall, and that's what you saw in the beating. Canon then posted it and was trying to make it go viral. After that, that's when Canon got, because WACK 100 and Molly Mall are cool. So that's how that whole connection started. The friendship started from that point on with WACK and Canon. Had nothing to do with anything else. He put his daughter's mother into Robin. Yeah, he did. If he never cheated with Black China, you think you would have been with him still? That's a good question. You know, I don't know. I was pregnant when I found out about the Black China situation. I don't know. I really can't give you an honest answer. Like I said, I'm always going to be honest with you guys. So I really do not know. I was a different person when I was with Canon. I'm trying to explain it. It's like it's the craziest thing to explain to you guys. Like when you're with Canon, he molds you into who he wants you to be. So you lose sight of who you are, if that makes sense. Before I met Canon, I've always been independent on my own. I was never been in an abusive relationship before or anything like that. I haven't even been in that many relationships at my age because I had a daughter really young, my oldest, who is 24 now. And it was a girl. So, you know, I was very cautious. I never lived with men. I never moved men in with me or anything like that. So when I got with Canon, it was a lot of control, a lot of playing on your weaknesses, playing on your any trauma that you had in your childhood, any abandonment issues, things like that. It's kind of like you feel trapped. It's kind of like you can't leave. You don't know where to turn. Canon turns people against you, so it's kind of like you really don't have anywhere to go. Canon drains you all of your any independence you had when you got with him. As you can see probably from their channel or stuff that I'll show too as well. He's very big on what's it called? Gaslighting. He's very big on grandiosity. So he does things that most men won't do. Running your bath water, cooking for you, in the middle. No matter what time it is, catering to you, constantly, like just showering you with affection, love, words of affirmation, just everything. It's almost like a fairy tale type of thing, if that makes sense. Once he does that, like it's so intense in the beginning, he gets you to a point where it's like, oh my God, like where did you come from type of thing, right? Once that happens, then like I said, it slowly starts stripping you of, any independence. So if you're working, I don't want you to work. I just want you to, take care of the household, this or this or that. Then it starts slowly and surely, like, every time you're with your friends, he's there. Every time he's with his friends, he wants you to come. It's like before you know it, your lives become one. And then before you know it, your friends are now his friends more than they're your friends. Anytime you guys get in a fight, anytime anything happens, you notice like just things start shifting. Then you start realizing that Canon's lying to your friends, making up things that didn't happen, telling your friend, like it's the craziest thing ever. Like I said, I have to show you guys some visuals so you guys can kind of understand. But his manipulation game is so crazy that when you're with him, you're kind of trapped. So once you're out, it's a freedom that I could never explain. It is like it's like being resurrected. When you're with Ken, he gets you to a point where you're like dead inside and you're literally just living. You're just like going with every day. Like your world is turned upside down. Like it's insane. Like all the stuff Charisse is encounters, so like that. I don't, like I said, I don't know her. I don't know. I just go by what I see. See, I'm not the type of woman. I don't I would never sit there and lie with my man, or even if he's lying and making up false stories and other people for fame. I've never been like that. That's just not me. So all of this, like what was happening behind closed doors at that time, all the drama and the stuff that he was creating was overwhelming for me because I don't like that type of stuff. I don't like drama. I don't like violence. I'm not into all that. So again, for me, it was living in hell. So honestly, when China thing happened, it was very emotional because I was pregnant, but it was kind of like I used to pray every night that God would either take me or bring somebody to be with him so he could leave me alone. It's not like I haven't tried to leave Canon multiple times. I would get beat trying to leave. The last time I stopped trying to leave was after I had the baby, when he took the baby from me and said I'd never see her again if I left. So that was the last time I stopped trying to leave. So after that, I didn't try to leave anymore. Because all the other times, like I said, I did. I tried going to family members' house, and then he would call over there, and then they would cave in and tell him where I was. So, like I said, it was, he has people, everybody around you, manipulated into thinking he's this god. The same reason why people are, saying like, what you think? Do you want him to be locked up? Do you want him to be like, your family is doing the same thing when you're telling him, look at the black eyes, look at this. It's like, well, he treats you so good and all that and this and that. It's like, it's okay that he busted your lip or blacked your eye. Yeah. So like I said, it's not an easy thing to just leave, as much as people think it is, when you're with a person like him. I honestly didn't know him until he got an interview with No Jumper. Yeah, nobody knew him until he got in to the interview with No Jumper. Nobody did. You laughed more. He called you sweetheart every night. What? Was he friendly with Big U? Those scenarios Luce talked about, including Big U, are they true? So yes, him and Big U were friendly. Let's just talk about that. They were friendly. I was, like I said, with Cannon since 2018 to 2022. I can tell you Big U came over to our house maybe like 3 or 4 times in all that time. Big U messed with Cannon to a certain degree. It's not like they were best friends hanging out all day. Like we were going over to his house hanging out and stuff like that. Like we went to a couple of events together. He's been to our house like maybe a handful of times, but it wasn't anything like we're like this whole enforcer thing and for him and stuff is not true. Cannon has done a lot of violence, a lot of things. Big U was not even around. Like at all. Cannon loved using Big U's name in a lot of stuff that he did, a lot of stuff that he got away from. He did use Big U's name a lot though. So, but Big U was never involved in the situations, when the stuff happened at the house, like when he pulled a gun on somebody or did this or did that, Big U was never there. Big U, like I said, maybe came a handful of times. No funny business. You're describing my parent 100%. I'm so happy for you. I don't get how people call someone slow can manipulate so many people. I don't know. I really don't know. And that's why I said never underestimate just because the way he talks or, the way he looks. Like I said, he's entertaining the same way he has you guys entertained, the same way you guys are laughing. You think it's funny. You think it's cool. Even Sharice, she's doing this Sunday service and talking about God and this and I don't understand how you can even talk about God when you're doing the devil's work. I don't understand how you can, sit there and act like his other children. And I'm not talking about my child. I'm talking about the 5. Like I said, my child has nothing to do with nothing. But I'm talking about the children that he has that can read, that can go on the internet, and how she thinks it's okay as a mother to dismiss them like they're not shit. Just as a woman, I think is nasty and is disgusting. And I don't know how people can even think that that's okay. I don't know why people are not asking questions about, why they think that that's okay. I really don't, but whatever. Let's see what else. Them be the ones. What do you think it'll take for him to finally sign? So Cannon was never going to sign the divorce papers. I also want to make this very clear. I know people are wondering, like, why don't you just get a divorce? Why don't you just move on? And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this one time. I'll like I said, I'll show, but as I explained to you, being with Cannon is not something you can just sign over and he's going to let you go. If you think because you guys don't see it and Sharice thinks in her mind that Cannon has not tortured me behind closed doors, he has. Cannon still contacted me after he was with Sharice. It's not like it stopped. It's not like the manipulation stopped. It's not like he met Sharice and was like, oh, goodbye, and I was free. It's never going to be that way. Kenan is not going to let you go that easy. He's going to make sure you suffer. He's going to make sure you are tortured because you left. It's not that easy. It's not just a sign over the divorce paper and he's just going to let me go like that. That doesn't work that way. We have a child together, and I've already told you, I fear for my child's safety. Kenan has done a lot of things to children behind closed doors, and I will never want my child to be around somebody like that unless they get the proper help that they need. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody thinks about me or whatever, but she's my daughter, and I will do everything in my power, including give my life to protect her. And if I have to stay married to Kenan for 100 years until he agrees to the deal that I want with our daughter, then that's just what it's going to be. So it's either my way or no way. I'm not pressed for the divorce. We can't just get a divorce like that. We have a child together. The child is involved in the divorce proceedings. So we had court in January of 2024. He didn't show up to the court date. Then we had another court date in March. Obviously, he got picked up or whatever. I was going through this. So, I mean, we haven't proceeded with anything of that. But just for those who are wondering why I have not finalized the divorce, again, anybody who has been through a divorce and has children, you know that you have to take care of the issues with the children. It's not like I can, stop him from contesting anything or fighting me for our daughter, which he has tried behind my back. There's a lot of things you guys don't see that he does. So him and Sharice I don't even know if she's aware that he tried to get a lawyer to do this, whatever, with my daughter, but he did. He tried to say he served me. He didn't serve me. He tried to get this high-powered attorney, a father's rights attorney for the daughter that you got. Remember, he's saying that's not his. Yeah. So try to go behind my back, try to get a father's rights attorney, called CPS. Like, he's done a lot of things to try to get the baby. So like I said, I know you guys don't understand or see why, why she's not moving on, because Kenan's not the type of person that you can just move on from. Because again, like I said, he's going to make you pay for trying to move on. That's just how he is. So that's that. So it's not the divorce that I can't get. I'm glad you asked that question, Tyson. So I want you guys to understand, it's not about the divorce. I could sign the divorce papers and we can be divorced tomorrow. The only thing is our daughter. If Kenan does not give up his parental rights permanently, he will always be able to come back and try to take my daughter from me. He will always be able to get a lawyer. He will always have, if he has a chick like Sharice, to give money to try to get some high-powered attorney to take me to court, and I don't want that. So my only request was for him, which shouldn't have been a problem. I don't know why. We can't come to the agreement. He didn't want a divorce. He said he doesn't want a divorce. He's not going to give it, whatever, behind closed doors. But if he's not claiming the child publicly, I just didn't understand why not just let me be free. Let me go with the baby. I didn't request child support. I didn't request alimony. I asked him if he signed over his rights to legacy, that he wouldn't have to pay for anything. I would pay for the documents to be drafted. I would pay for the notary. I would pay for everything. He still refused. The wife before me, Nikki, is the only one, because obviously I can't talk to Sharice, type of woman she is. Nikki is the prior wife. She talks to Kenan. She's the only one who's been kind of trying to advocate to help get him to do what's right. And he still refuses. So I don't know. That's where we are with that. Yeah, see, kind of been through a divorce before, did the whole custody thing. Yeah, see, I'm not trying to do a custody thing, as I said. I know that you guys don't know, because unlike him, his son's not a snitch. His son's not going to, the one that he pulled the gun on is not going to put him behind bars. So when him and Sharice, because mind you, Sharice pulled the gun too, on Kenan's son and nephews. And that just told me, on top of, like I said, the incident at the hospital when they both attacked me, which is what he has the warrant for in San Bernardino. I mean, in Loma Linda, I'm sorry. I just knew, like I said, my daughter's safety was my number one priority. Cannon doesn't make good choices of who he has in his life, from friends to women to everything. And it's not just this woman. Sharice is not the first one. He's had, like, women before, obviously. Black China. I've spoke to her. I don't know about her now, but at the time she wasn't mentally somebody I would want around my child either. She was cool, so she wasn't disrespectful like Sharice is or anything like that. Never spoke on, she never, went public and said, oh, it's not her kid. She never spoke of my daughter. When Cannon tried to bring her into it, she said, nah, she don't do that. So I respected her for that. But just certain things I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't trust Cannon to have my children around these men that he doesn't know. I have a daughter, you have to understand. And like I said, anybody who's capable of pulling a gun on their own child is just, not somebody I'm going to have around my children. So it's all control, manipulation, why he won't let you go. Yes, I know. So I get that. I understand that. And I think I have to understand, Cannon is not doing this because he loves me or he wants to be with me. Cannon is doing it to punish me because I left. You don't leave Cannon. You don't go against him. You don't do these things. And when you do, this is what you get. You get publicly harassed, bullied, lied on. Your daughter gets lied on. He calls you every type of bees, bitch. She's a slut. She's a horse. She's crazy. You're just, that's what he does. He's going to drag you. And the same thing he's doing to what, Big U, Meek Mill, Rick Ross, anything to get Cannon, whatever he's going to say. What now, 600, he's going off on him. Going, all these people that he's friends with at one point, right? Best. And then all of a sudden he's talking all this crap. Same thing. So once I left, Cannon, it was up. It was fair game. He was going to make me pay. And Cannon knows that if he was to ever sign over his rights to the daughter that we have, that would be his last, tie to me. If that was cut, he could never hurt me or have anything to do with me ever again. Ever. Let me explain why. I know because I went and got rented a house in Vegas with my aunt just so I can establish residency in Las Vegas, because that's where Cannon and Sharice live. He was avoiding service. So I established residency there just so I can file for termination of his parental rights. I go to court. Luckily, thank God, in Vegas, for termination of parental rights, you do not have to serve the person directly. You can serve next of kin over the age of 18 that lives in this household, which would be his girlfriend, Sharice, which is who I served. Thank God he didn't show up to court. This is Vegas. We go to court. Judge grants us termination of parental rights. The judge also warns me that even though the judge has terminated his parental rights, the father can still come back and contest it. The only thing that is more permanent than that is if he gives up his parental rights on his own. So he would have to relinquish his rights, and that would be permanent, where he could not come back. I thought, hey, this is it. It's a judge, right? He's saying he doesn't want the baby. Like, this is good. I'm free. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. So I do that. The judge says I have to serve him the decision. I serve him the decision. Cool, right? I'm thinking I'm free. I'm thinking it's over. Of course not. Here Cannon goes, still contacting me, still talking about the baby, that his rights were just terminated right by the. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a never-ending thing, and that's what you guys don't understand. I'll be showing that too, so you can see, like, it's not like it's just in my head. Like I said, I'm gonna show you guys all the receipts. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's never gonna end. The torture, the harassment, the constantly being able to contact me. Like, if I could get rid of him forever in my life, I would, but I can't, because he knows we have this child together, and he'll forever be tied to me. He can easily go get anything overturned, try to get her, and he knows that's gonna hurt me more than anything. So until I can get him to sign over the rights voluntarily, then relinquish his rights, then it is what it is. But yeah, so that's pretty much, everything. now you guys kind of get like, you know, an inside of like where I'm at now, why I've came forward with all this. I think, like I said, a lot of it has to do with none of you guys know who he is behind closed doors. He does a lot of things that a lot of people don't know about. The scams, the manipulation, the game is crazy. Just with the wedding alone, you know what I'm saying? I know Sharice probably thought, you know, I don't know who she thought these people were. I'm not really sure, but you know, it's just it's all part of his plan. Like I said, he literally takes people from his prior life. All he does is just change players. That's all he does. He just changed players. The scam never changes, just the players do every time. So before Sharice, he tried the same thing with China. That didn't work out. So he tries, because he has to find somebody who's willing to, you know, the puzzle, the pieces have to fit, right? They have to fit in order to make the puzzle complete. So everybody he's tried with, you know, doesn't work. It's not complete. Doesn't work. Sharice was the only one that fit. She was the only one who was willing to go along with the BS. She was the only one who was going to sit there and co-sign the lies and like rah go, like, yeah, we got to do this play, like I'm with it, I'm with the shooting, I'm with the stuff. Like she was the only one that was with that, you know what I'm saying? And that's cool, you know. Hey, there's a soulmate for everybody. I believe that, and I wholeheartedly believe they are 100% soulmates, you know what I'm saying? 120%. And I think Sharice doesn't understand. Like she seems to run with this narrative like I want Cannon, and I want her to know, and I'm trying not to get emotional, but when Cannon, like, I was thanking God when Cannon met her. Like, I wanted to get out so bad that Cherie saved my fucking life. I'm so happy when he found somebody else to torture. I thank God every day that he met her. And I pray to God that she stays with him as long as she can until I'm finally free, you know? Um, it's, uh, I'm not even trying to get emotional, but being with somebody who breaks you down and beats you to the point of you know, beyond recognition, to where you don't even realize who you are anymore. um you can only thank God that, you know, you're set free. And I thank her every day that she came along, because I didn't know how much longer I was gonna last being with him. He was killing me every day. Every day he was killing me. Piece of me died every day. And you know, nobody knew anything. Um, Even though they saw the black eyes and this and that, you know, you lie for him, you know. Um, Even when he tried to kill me, I still didn't press charges. Um, I didn't. The only reason why he has the domestic violence case is because the beating was so bad that um, the hotel witnesses came forward and they testified against him. Um, and I guess now I just felt like I was so weak then, you know. I never said anything. I never stood up for myself. And I don't want my daughter to think that that's love, or I don't want her to think that. I don't want her to ever feel like, I don't want her to be afraid to stick up for herself because she's afraid of what everybody's going to say or think. That's why I stayed in it for so long, you know. Afraid of this, afraid of judgment, afraid of people, him turning people against you with the lies and the false stories. Because you know he's so good at it. He's so good at it, right? So good at it. And you know you're going to be alone. Nobody's going to believe you. Even with black eyes, police reports, broken ribs. So that's why I started speaking out. I just want to be someone my daughter can be proud of, or any woman that's going through it, you know. I want the next woman to know that there's always a way out. And even though the internet is undefeated, and even though you think people don't care, if some woman can hear my story and know that, just pray. And there's somebody else who knows what you're going through. And there's always a way out. So that's the reason why I started speaking out. I just want my daughter to know that I just want her to be proud of me. I never stood up through all the beatings and the abuse. I never said anything. I felt ashamed, and I felt it was my fault. I accepted it. You know, I deserved it. Because you knew, you know, you let it slide the first time and you keep allowing it. So it's like, you deserve it, right? That's what you're thinking. So anyways, so that's a lot of the reason too. Like I said, Sharice has to understand it's not jealousy. I think her every day. She's what saved my life. Like you said in the chat or in the question, I don't think I would have ever got out had that not happened, you know? So, shit, the reason why I'm so free is partly because of Sharice. So yeah, I'll always, you know, but yeah. But yeah, any more questions? I am so sorry to get all emotional. Definitely did not mean to cry. It is a lot, like I said. So yeah, if you guys don't have any more questions, I cannot believe I was crying online. This is crazy. But I mean, like I said, I wanted to tell the truth. I wanted to be very transparent. And now you guys know, you know, it's not easy, man. It's not easy going against somebody like Cannon. It's not easy. But again, I don't want my daughter to think that I'm weak and I didn't stick up for her and fight for, you know, her when everybody else was against her, when her own father was against her, you know. I want her to know that I didn't just sit back and not say anything like I did when, you know, because she'll ask me one day, why didn't I be with her father? I'm sure, you know. So I want her to know that even though I didn't stick up for myself, I stuck up for her at least. So yeah. All right, guys. We will definitely be going live again. I'm going to be going live, I think, like twice a day, you guys. I definitely want to like drill this home. Like, I really want to like start engaging with you guys more. I'm about to take off my lashes, guys. We're comfortable, right, y'all? We are. Okay. So, because I done cried them all off, you guys. But I want to go live more often because I really want people, like I said, I don't care if it even reaches, I know nobody cares about this sappy ass story, a woman being abused or what child being not claimed or anything like that, or a father abandoning his children. That's not news. That's not content. I get it. So it doesn't matter. But like I said, I just want the truth to be out there, just like the lies are. So whoever does see it, whoever does know, at least my daughter will know. She will know that I stood up against the whole internet that is undefeated by myself and stood strong. And, you know, I stood up against the devil. And that's what I intend to do. So definitely like, share, subscribe. Okay, I don't know about subscribe. I mean, share this video because you guys, it's got emotional. Oh my God. You guys. Now I feel like we're super close, right? Because I'm gonna cry my eyes out. Y'all gotta send me the bill for this therapy session. But definitely like, share, subscribe. Please share my channel. Like I said, next week we're gonna be dropping the series. We're going to start dropping episode by episode and start unpacking all the lies, all the manipulation, kind of like everything, so you guys can see it happening, so you guys can understand where we are, why we are here now, and all that stuff. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for all your support. Thank you to everybody. I really appreciate you. Thank you to my moderator, Perla. She's been rocking with me since I started this journey. So I appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you. Please share, like, subscribe.